I'm going to refresh this right quick to make sure that we're live. And we'll go ahead and move forward with this. Let's see. Okay, we're live. All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? So we're just going to go live and do this kind of Q&A webinar, really collecting some thoughts right after our men's retreat that we had here in Southern Alabama. We had a spiritual retreat, reset, refresh, and renew, something that I hosted here at the beginning of 2020. And we were going to go to the woods and reset, reconnect, refresh, and we were going to connect with the anonymous, infamous Amanita Muscaria. There's a lot of research out there. There's a lot of fear and hysteria when it comes to this mushroom. There's a lot of research out there when it comes to psilocybin magic mushrooms, helping people cure depression, get over the fear of the afterlife, come to terms with death, getting over addiction, a lot of things, a lot of breakthroughs that's happening with psilocybin. I wrote about it in my book. Psilocybin really changed my life and catapulted me into my call and my destiny to manifest what I'm doing today for a living. And it's been a beautiful tool. But when it comes to the Amanita Muscaria, which is the one, for those of you who don't know, is the red mushroom with the white speckles, white dots all over it, the one that's in Mario, and it's all throughout antiquity and things like that. The really popular image, that's the Amanita Muscaria. But when it comes to that one, there's a lot of disinfo, misinfo, a lot of fear stuff. If you eat it, you'll die. If you eat it, you'll get poisoned. So we wanted to connect where there was about 7 of us who ended up showing up to this retreat. We are all Christian brothers. We're all somewhat connected into the Christian church, Christian faith for the most part. But we're definitely spiritual guys wanting to have a spiritual encounter. So we all met up and had this encounter. I ordered the Amanita Muscaria, which is legal in the U.S. It is 100% legal. You can find them in the woods and have them on you, ship them in the mail. I ordered them from Washington from a guy named Amanita Lloyd, who has a really nice group on Facebook who is working to get past and through a lot of the things that we're talking about, a lot of the disinfo and that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for research, definitely check out his group, Amanita Lloyd, on Facebook. And so I got them from him, shipped them to me, and we all met together. Southern Alabama. We got there and we wanted to reconnect. Started fellowshipping in the spirit, hanging out. We went on a walk in the wilderness through the woods, kind of reconnected with nature. We ate about 1 gram each, just a piece, just to kind of say hello. I think most of our intention was to really connect with the spirit behind the plant or behind the fungus, if you will, that understand that there is a intelligence behind nature. There's an intelligence behind all of the different plants, and so we wanted to say hello and meet the Amanita. And so all of us have done exhaustive research. Most of us were scared when it comes down to this because of all of the hysteria. You might get poisoned, you might die if you take them, those kind of things. And so the more research that we started doing of armchair investigators and people just being open and honest about their stories on YouTube and these Facebook groups and things like that, we're finding out that there was a lot more to the discussion of the Amanita Muscaria than we were told by kind of like the mainstream or whatever the case is. So we're going to just do an open and honest review about our experience, what we brought to the table, what we encountered, pros and cons, if we would recommend it to others, those kind of things. So I'll just preface it this way. We met in spiritual intentions, went on a walk through the wilderness, 1 gram. Didn't know if we felt it, maybe. We get back to our campsite that evening and we boil 14 grams and we split it 7 ways, which came down to about 2 grams each of drinking it with the tea. And we prepared it in a tea and did it as a sacrament, almost like Holy Communion. Tastes really good and really enjoyed the taste of it. Really enjoyed ingesting it. drank 2 grams, and then we ate a gram as well. So it was like more for us. It was like a communion of the water or the wine and the wafer as well. So we did some chanting. We did some Hebraic chanting. We did some Sanskrit chanting. We did some ohms. We did some breath work. It was a very spiritual weekend for all of us. We had high intentions of things that we wanted to lay down and things that we wanted to pick up. So it wasn't about just going into the woods and trying to eat mushrooms or something. It was very much a spiritual experience for us all, connecting with like-minded brothers, being open and honest, and finding there's people out there just like you who want to connect. So that's kind of the preface of it all. In all together, we drank 2 grams, ate 1 gram. We went and made a fire. It was real beautiful, hanging out, fellowship with the brothers. I made a fire, felt really connected. We was kind of like questioning if we felt it, hey, you feel this? I think so, maybe, kind of that kind of thing. And so a lot of people drove from all over the U.S. to be here. So it was one of those things where we wanted to make sure that we had a good encounter, that we wanted to make sure that we wanted to ease into it. So we didn't want to just kind of take a hero dose or go really far in. So that's why we just kind of started with the 3 grams like that and see how it felt. I will preface this as well, because it's not the same as your dosage of psilocybin. 3 grams of psilocybin is a pretty good dose. 5 grams is considered a hero dose. More of a hero dose of Amanita would be 15. Just want to say that too for those of you doing the research. We did the 3 grams, hanging out by the fire, kind of felt it, felt connected, felt warm. So then we were like, I think about an hour passed, and we was kind of questioning if we felt it. So we started eating some more. They were cracker dry, and so we was able to break them up and eat some more, and we just kind of went through the whole bag. And I think the majority of us did about 10 grams. Some people did a little bit more. Jonathan Santiago, within an hour of that, it was like, yeah, we really feel them. We feel it. Okay. Really sank into the couch, wanted to go to sleep, felt really good. A lot of research you do, people say you get the best sleep that you've ever had in your life for Amanita. People even use the Amanita to go to sleep. Felt that coming on. And we got really tired, and I'll start with that as it started coming on, and I'm just going to open it up for a discussion with some of the other brothers to let you just kind of chime in on what you guys were feeling early on and the way I prefaced it. And leading up to this point, is there any other background information that people should know with us or with the Amanita or anything like that?
No, I think that was good. I think you hit it right on. I'd say kind of leading up to it, it definitely has an alcohol effect, like you're drinking. So everybody definitely loosened up a lot. Conversation flowed, spirit flowed a lot, and you would have a lot of I had a lot of motor skill issues-ish. I mean, kind of tripping a little bit, but you could feel like, oh yeah, man, I felt like I've been drinking a lot, but it was a lot different than that too. It was, started having, I don't know, time, space dilation things going on where, I know, Santiago there, he experienced that quite a bit. Yeah, it's kind of all I got right now.
He fell asleep. Yeah. So as
so before he fell asleep.
Yeah, as we were doing the breath work and the chanting and stuff like that, Andrew led us on a hypnotic guided meditation, which was really beautiful. But as the Amanita was kicking in, it kind of lulls you to sleep, and it's beckoning you to go to sleep. And as he did the hypnosis, everybody woke up except Jonathan Santiago stayed asleep.
I guess for me, to start it off, the first effects that I felt, it's almost like he was just saying, kind of feeling kind of tipsy. You're not full out drunk, but you feel tipsy. You get up, you kind of stumble a couple feet, but you feel real happy. You feel that euphoria feeling. And then after that, when it really started kicking in, like an hour and a half, 2 hours after the first hour that kicked in, it was more of like a strong high. Like if you've ever smoked, weed before, when you're really high, you feel really good. Everything in your body just really numb and starts tingling. And then by the third hour, when it kicked in for me, that's when it just, after that meditation that Andrew did, we just skyrocketed from there, man. I guess I started off with that.
Yeah, and so I mean, this is where I'll come in, because I was actually guiding the meditation. I'm watching everybody react and kind of watching everything happen, and I'm going into it too, closing my eyes on different parts, but I'm also just watching and observing as I'm leading this this part. And I feel like some people went extremely deep very quickly, a lot quicker than some other sessions that I've carried on, and so that definitely triggered it off. And then when we came out of that, I mean, meditation, hypnosis, all of that is just so closely related with the sleep state. Jonathan was laying on the couch like he was asleep, and I was like, hey, I got to test this, see if he's asleep. So I gave him a hypnotic suggestion, and he was definitely not asleep. So I was like, all right, good. So, from there, I think that just lightened the whole mood, and we all just took off with it, right? And felt the connection, like Nehemiah said. Alcohol tendencies did trend, where people were acting like confused or distorted, and I felt that way myself a couple of times, just like, hey, what am I doing, what's going on? But then amazing amount of focus and energy came as well. And then, like, as far as balance, trying to move around up and down the stairs, trying to hang out by the fireplace and the fire pit and everything like that. The balance was off a little bit, but definitely a social aspect definitely increased on all levels. I mean, it was always there, but everybody was just so much more talkative, and then just that sitting around on the couch too, it just gave you that vibe of sitting around drinking, and so it was very similar to that.
There's a lot of research out there, and people liken it to benzos or like muscle relaxers, and so and a lot of people have used Amanita to kick some of these strong opiates or whatever. So for me, when it was really laying on the couch, like I wanted to go to sleep. I wanted to sink into the couch, and it felt really good, really euphoric. But we had a lot going on, and it was still early in the night. Like, it was early, but we all wanted to go to sleep, and so, which was something. So Brandon, man, so if you can chime in, man, when just kind of early on, what were you feeling earlier than later? That, put it that way.
Well, remember the first thing that hit me was when we were meditating. When I closed my eyes, the first thing I saw, was the anime of, I would say maybe Amanita herself. The blonde hair with the pink mushroom head, and that's the first thing the first image I saw when I closed my eyes. And then throughout the rest of the night, anytime I closed my eyes, it was just like playing these cartoons, but it got faster and faster and faster throughout the night. It even got to a point where I felt like motion sickness. It was so fast, So that's my main part. And I just wanted to close my eyes so I could see, but it was so fast I couldn't really make anything out of it. I couldn't be like, okay, what are you trying to show me if I'm trying to learn something? It was just so fast I couldn't like put together, a vision to teach me anything, but still pretty amazing. And it definitely, euphoria was awesome. Like you say, feeling like drinking, definitely. It was, and the camaraderie with everybody together was so beautiful. That was the best part to me, just being with everyone, just the experience together was so beautiful.
I think for me, the only regret that I have is falling asleep so early, man. Because, up to the point of, what I was experiencing, like waking up the next day, I'm like, because it's after, I went back and seeing how long it lasts, they said like 6 or 7 hours. I'm like, I had like another, 4 hours of experiencing to go through, and I just slept through it, man, which is the only thing I regret about it, man.
Yeah, and you did fall asleep. You both fell asleep fast, Brandon and Jonathan. And it's like Truth said, there was a deep sleep. And literally, I slept really, really well, which is kind of unusual for me, just to be in a different environment. Like, I gotta have like dark and all that. I sleep extremely well. Also, I don't remember my dreams all the time, but I remember a very vivid dream. And I think the biggest thing for me was time distortion, right? Like, I'd look down at my watch and be like, oh man, it's only 11. Let's do this. And then it would seem like 3 minutes, and then it was like 11:35, and I'm like, whoa, what? Like, how did that happen? And then by like 12:15, everybody was starting to like really mind out and start to pass out left and right. And I remember Brandon being so fast asleep up on that top bunk where I was sleeping, and he was just like snoring away, bro. The whole cabin was vibrating, right? Sorry to throw you under the bus, Brandon, but we had to wake you up, bro. And then like when we did, you just went right back, man, into that same deep sleep, but you were fine, you know? And man, like I said, those vivid dreams, like you were saying, you had all those visuals passing so fast. These dreams I had seemed like they lasted, oh man, maybe like 5 hours, but literally the scene played in like 5 minutes. You know, it's just the same scene over and over in that dream. And so it was interesting to see the way it distorted time like that.
I want to reiterate on a bunch of stuff we've already said, but I want to give it over to Nehemiah. Any closing remarks that you have, because your phone's going dead. I know in passing and there's so much more we can go into, and I'm going to cover a lot of stuff that we talked about. But is there anything else you want to say before your phone cuts out, man?
Yeah, I just want to say I had an awesome time. The fellowship was the highlight of the whole thing, getting together with everybody there. Also agree with Andrew. The dreams were very vivid, and the time lapse thing where you just start repeating things over and over. Physically, I know, Derek, you witnessed that from me. I think, Andrew, you were in the living room too, where I just kind of repeated the same scenario again, and it kind of played out in my head. And I was watching myself do it too, kind of in third person. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But the same thing followed through with dreams too, as kind of got stuck in this wake up cycle. Like I kept trying to just stay awake to hang out with everybody, and then it kind of followed through into the dream world too, which was very interesting.
Which seems cool at first, but then it becomes kind of overwhelming really quick with the timing thing about time being weird. It was hard to measure time. Has 10 minutes passed by, but an hour's passed by? What time is it? That was weird. Likening that to psilocybin, it's kind of similar, but psilocybin is a lot more intense, a lot more scarier, of like there is no time type deal. So there's a difference there with like time perception versus psilocybin. There is no time, and you're kind of like in this in-between realm. So there's a difference there I want to point out. So yeah, there's these things we were experiencing. Some people have talked about a loop. There's like a loop, and so I've heard people mention it in passing. Definitely trying to go to bed, I felt like I was stuck in these loops, which are very weird. Could be some mild psychosis that you're experiencing because you have something in your mind that you want to say. You say it, you forgot you said it. You want to say it, you forgot you said it. You say it, you forgot. That kind of weird thing. And it started trying to go to sleep. For me, it was like, adjust my pillow to get comfortable. Okay, adjust my pillow to get comfortable. Okay, and it was like, I don't know how long it lasted. You know,
hours.
Exactly. I don't know how long I was adjusting my pillow, telling myself that. And it is kind of scary. We did our research, and if you did not do your research and you were in these in-between states and you were having these loops, which were later on in the night, the loops kicked in, and it was really strong and really strange to get used to. And there was a moment there where Nehemiah came downstairs, and he would walk and he'd have a profound statement, and he'd stop, and it was a bit of confusion. I didn't know if he was getting scared. It can be scary, but I was letting him know that, hey, I went through some of this too, just kind of reassuring you a little bit. But was there any fear? I can't lie. Like when I was trying to go to bed and my mind was going really fast, it was kind of weird.
Not for me, really. It was just interesting to observe. I was just kind of taking it as an observation of what was going on, even in my mind. Another thing that I know everybody will probably talk about too was the body shakes and the your hands kind of starting muscle spasms, right? When your muscles, I think, are converting the acid into muscimol, right? And Andrew said he saw me after I went to bed, shaking quite a bit, but I was out, man. I was going through my own thoughts and loops and stuff and dreams, but there was a lot of muscle spasms for sure from everybody, I imagine.
It wasn't scary. Maybe it was. I mean, it was weird.
Not for me, but
a fear would be like, what if it always goes? And even coming down the next day, it was like, okay, am I always gonna have this tick? For me, it was like we were tapping music on the cell phone, and I was typing music into play. And when I noticed it kicking in, I would type a song, and then my hand would hit the cell phone really hard when I'm just trying to tap it. I would do it, and then I would shake and convulse a little bit. My hands would, you kind of lose those motor skills. And then a couple people were dropping their cell phones, and they'd pick it up and they'd drop it, and they'd pick it up and they'd drop it, and they're kind of losing. But it got kind of weird, little shakes here and there, almost like a nervous tick that you couldn't stop. And going to bed, most of us laying in bed, it got a little bit more intense, and some of us dealing with that, and that's something that is should be noted as well. Some people were saying on the Amanita forums is that it is what you were saying, when your body is trying to convert the abitanic acid into muscimol, that if you just had the tea, then you don't really have that those spasms like that. But a lot of people report it, and I'm glad that we did our research and knew that it was a thing, right? Instead of going into it not knowing that it was something that could happen.
Yeah, like for me, I definitely felt the twitching in the hands. You just felt your hands just do this, and and you can see it at the same time. But the craziest part about it is when there was at one point I had my phone and I was about to play one game, and in my mind I clicked on that game and I was getting the game ready. But then when I looked again, it was a completely different game. So I'm like, what the hell am I doing playing this game? So I had to get off of that game and go to the other one. But I couldn't even focus playing the other game either because of my hand twitching so much. And when I tried texting, I was texting my wife, and like I could not put the words together, man. Like the letters would just scramble up, and I would think I'm saying something, but when I look back, they're just scrambled words. And I looked up at this guy. He did a blog of his experience. As he was going through the experience, he was blogging it. So he went from typing normally to all of a sudden, when it kicked in hard, it went from like mumbling words as he typed. And he said he kept writing. He didn't fix the words because he wanted the blog to be, the live experience of it. So as he was typing, you can see the words just mumbling and like words being put together. And that's one of the things that happened to me besides the twitching and a lot of like the fast paced stuff.
When I was trying to type in some songs, that happened. I had a song in mind, and then I would type it in, and I couldn't spell it. Like I couldn't spell the song. I would try
that happened to me too. I was
trying to get as close as I could to the song name, and sometimes it would come up.
It was hard. It was impossible for me, man, to try to even type something.
Yeah, I relied on YouTube a lot. I would type in 3 letters, and that would be good enough. I'd be like, all right, we're gonna choose that one then. I remember picking some music like that, and then I think with the whole thing with the games too. I made a game out of building that fire up when I went out there doing that fire, and with the time distortion with fire is interesting because it takes a little while for all those logs to burn down, but it seemed like they just kept going. So I just kept throwing all the logs we had on that fire, man. And by the end of it, it was probably like an hour and a half. I was out there messing with that thing, and then I realized, I was like, oh wow, I've been out here for a while. I think that green laser pointer too, that made things really fun.
Yeah, that was crazy because I saw the green light and you said you saw a red light, right? Was it you or I think it was Chris?
Yeah, no, I did too. Like I saw it was green, but then like there was an after effect, and I saw it again, and it was red.
It was red.
Like it was both ends of the spectrum.
I took Nehemiah out to the fire because I figured out with that green laser, if I shook it back and forth enough in the smoke, it kind of made the images show up like a strobe light would do. And we just stood out there and stared at that for what seemed like forever. And then after we did that, I did what Derek was just talking about. I kept dropping my cell phone right out. I was like, where's my phone at? Where's my phone? And I would be sitting down in Nehemiah's chair, and then I'd just stand up and then fall. And I felt like I did that like probably 10 times before I just realized, all right, I'm putting my phone in my pocket. And then it was fine. So yeah, it was really fun. And coming to this from completely sober life, completely no substances, no alcohol, anything in my life, and then going into it from that perspective, and so it really does show you clearly, that it does have some effects. And maybe like I didn't get the shakes, so maybe some of the shakes have to do if you had alcohol in a certain time frame, things like that, because they were saying on the forums if you had alcohol, that makes it more difficult to do the breakdowns and stuff. So it was all in all a beautiful experience, really awesome time.
Also, I want to preface it again. Going into it, his phone cut off. We were wanting to connect with the Amanita, with the spirit behind it, right? And so,
right.
there were times whenever it was hard to walk. I started walking up the stairs, but I was tripping, and I was like, if I try to go up to the top of the stairs and I trip, it's going to be bad. So let me turn around and go sit back down, and tripping over our feet, that kind of thing. And with the loss of the motor skills and becoming really, really tired, beautifully tired almost, it was almost like the Amanita wanted to share something with us, but wanted us to go to sleep to impart that. It was almost like it was trying to make us go to sleep with the euphoria, with the sleepiness, and with the loss of motor skills. Like, hey, you can't walk. Just lay down and sink where you are, and let's connect. And so that's something that me and Nehemiah, when it was time to go to bed, we were like, yeah, I think it's trying to get us to go to bed. So it was kind of an excitement to go to bed so that we can continue the communion type deal. Like, maybe it wants to speak to us through the dream state. And the majority of what you'll find on the internet is about people having profound dreams, and some people talk about crazy creativity that hits them, and you feel like you can do anything and you want to create. I don't really feel like I felt that on it at all. I don't know about you guys.
Man, the only thing I can tell you is I felt more when I got home. Like, the next morning I felt so refreshed. Like, I felt like super energized. Like, I had the best nap of my life. I was even telling everybody I felt like I was, I wanted to go out for a run or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I get back home, and it's funny because my wife, after the things that I did today, she's like, now that I think about it, you should go back and do more mushrooms. Because I came home and I started doing things that I had to do around the house and finishing them up. Things that I've been trying to put off for a while, just out of pure laziness. And today I'm like, I just feel so motivated to just get this stuff done. So I got, some work that I had to get done around the house. I just let her know. And she's like, well, I feel like I need to go, go do some more mushrooms just to, get you more inspired to do more stuff around the house, man. So I definitely felt, I don't want to say creative, but just more like just motivated to do
the next
things.
Day though, it was the next day or the day
the next day. I felt I just felt so,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Even till now,
Yeah, it was like that for me too, honestly, where I came back and even having limited sleep from travel time and stuff, I was really motivated to just get onto some things that I had not been onto. And then I'd found, when, and this goes in with my mindfulness, but when I, came into some discomfort or stress, it was more relaxing into it now. And we were talking right before this, where I've found myself with so many goals, so many intentions to just come back to the basics. So I feel really renewed, really refreshed, in that I'm back to the basics, and that's fine with me. Like, that's acceptable to, do the basic stuff that I'm learning, the basic practices that I'm practicing to make my life what it is. Because literally, just doing basic things around the house that I had projects lined up. I had so many other projects that sometimes they didn't even get done, and literally just started knocking out room by room some of these things that just didn't need to be in place, like some of the stuff that was just out of place that I just moved around, and so it was interesting. You clean the house, I did the same thing. But like I said, on that deeper level too, I had refocused my attention to work on my business, work on my projects in a different way. I think that was a huge thing. So.
Chris Bars has just joined us, and he was with us this weekend. I would say this. So, like, one of the things that made us really move past, or at least me anyway, because Chris really didn't feel anything even earlier. It was like trying to check and see if he felt anything from it, and he was taking them, and he said he didn't really feel anything. So it was like, we want to make sure we feel something. So we kind of went past the 5, went past the 7, went to the 10, 11, 12 grams for some of us, and kind of even went past that little safe spot. Some people talk about 15 to 20 grams is really a far out place to get to, but so for me it was like, wanting to make sure that we felt something, and it was like, we got to do it. So we just kept eating, and then all of a sudden, poof, all at once, it was there. And I will say this too, because there's some information about mixing it, right? Mixing it with whether someone's drinking or someone's smoking pot or whatever the case is. A couple of the guys there were doing a vape pen. I guess it had CBD or I don't know, or it had THC in it, right? And so Brandon and another guy who was with us, who's not here, ended up doing the vape pen and said it really took it to the next level when everything started getting kind of intense for you guys. Was kind of like the mixture of the THC with the Amanita, right?
Yeah, it took off like a rocket. It was kind of flowing pretty smoothly. So I thought, you know what, let me just do this because I'm used to it, because I felt like drinking, and that's my normal thing. So I'm like, let me just see what happens. And it went from mellow to taking off like a rocket. Everything went so fast. And I didn't mention this, but I had woke up around 5 a.m. and went to the restroom, and I could still feel it. I don't know how long it lasted for y'all, but I woke up around that time, and it was still, my vision was still moving.
I know. What's his name? Nehemiah went to the bathroom in the middle of the night too, and ended up opening up the window. He went to the bathroom and couldn't find his way out. He couldn't find the door, so he opened the window and he thought about going out the window. But he's like, no, let me just keep looking for the door, and ended up eventually finding the door. The weird thing to think about is, like, how long was he literally in there looking for the door? Was it 2 minutes or was it an hour? You know what I'm saying? Because the time distortion is kind of strange,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like for me, everything was like super fast. So like I was saying, like I would see as I was, looking around the room, I would go from one visual to, it's almost like scenes, but it would go really fast. Like everything was moving so fast, grams. And I started feeling nauseous, and I tried to hold it in, keep it in. So I kept, getting up, walking up, going outside, getting some air, coming back inside. So after I lay down there for a minute, I couldn't hold it. It felt like it was just telling me, just go, just let it go, release it. And I went to the bathroom and I threw up, and just threw everything up, that I had to. And after that, I felt so much better, man. And then after that's when the actual experience started kicking in. It was like, it wasn't scary at all. I didn't feel like something bad was gonna happen. I didn't feel like I regretted it or anything like that. It was a real cool experience, man. There was nothing scary about it at all at any point up until I fell asleep.
Now, Chris, you with us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's kind of going in and out, but I can hear you.
All right, we can hear you. So what was your experience with it all? What were some of the highlights or some of the things that were kind of different about it that you experienced?
Well, at first, when I do that kind of stuff, I kind of turn into like a caretaker, if that makes sense. Like I just want to make sure everybody's good, and I don't know if like that's what was happening, where I was just trying to observe everybody, make sure everything was good, where it was just affecting me not to feel it. And right when I hung up with her, I closed my eyes real quick, and I kind of felt like, when you're so drunk, they say, what is it, hair of the dog, where you have to put 1 foot down off the bed because your world's spinning. Well, that's what was happening to me, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Because like I said, I didn't feel anything at all the whole time. And then I went and lay down in the bed, and, I started to feel what Jonathan talked about, where the world was moving, like spinning, like not spinning, but everything was going so fast. And I really didn't understand what was going on. I just kind of went with the ride of it. But the whole thing that I got out of the experience period was just, I kind of needed to be with people, like guys and stuff. Like I needed to be with different people and get like a reset. And I feel like that really helped me after it was all said and done, besides all the convulsing I had and all that stuff. I feel like I got like a refreshment. Like it was refreshing. Like the next day, I just felt so more in my body and not in my mind. The chatter was gone. Like I've actually been doing it because I just felt the complete bliss from it. I don't know if it had anything to do with the Anamita stuff too, but for the most part, after I got through all that craziness, like I felt just so refreshed. And I think I was telling Matthew, just a reset occurred. You know what I mean? Like it just totally shifted my my perception and everything. And I just feel, even now driving in the truck, like I just feel great. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like life's
Clear.
holding me down or anything. Yeah, exactly,
Clear.
man.
And no, so like, and we don't know if that is the Amanita that assisted, right? Because we
Right,
did so
right.
much spiritual work, and we all had a beautiful
Yeah.
time chanting and breath work and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And then the Amanita with it. For us, it was a beautiful experience. People are
Yeah,
talking
man.
about using the Amanita to feel connected, using the Amanita to contact the spirit realm. I don't know. Here's the thing: I don't know how spiritual Simon, but it's not. As far as
Right.
like questioning your reality and why am I here and I need to
Yeah.
the Amanita aided towards that. The Amanita had that spiritual weekend with us, but if we didn't
Yeah.
even do it, I think we probably would have had a very similar experience. As far as the reset, it definitely aided. It was beautiful. It was definitely worth doing. I think most of us were like, it was kind of like a one-time thing for a lot of people that there's no need, no desire to do it again. That is Amanita. That's not psilocybin. Totally different conversation. Having like furthering that relationship. Andrew's got a big bag himself. Using it for you know what I'm saying, microdosing, and just like you said, Chris, that's something that you would use to relax and go to sleep. My buddy, The Voice, he just ordered a bag as well. Just he wants to try it for sleep as well. You know, just
Right.
microdosing, not taking 10 grams. You know, that kind of thing moving forward. Does that sound right? How, like, is it a spiritual thing? Is the Amanita, or it would just happen to be there kind of thing? What do y'all think about that?
I think what you said is right. Like, who knows? But I mean, for me, doing those chants and doing all that breath work was like so needed for me. And I don't know if Amanita like helped it or what, or induced it or what. It was so amazing for me, like to just sit there with all you guys, and there was no judgment. We were just like doing what we were doing, and it was just so refreshing for me. I don't know, man. I don't have no clue how that all
Just to
works.
touch on that and add to it, so from coming from complete sobriety and then doing a bit of an altered state, and having been in the world of altered states before, you know, just but from complete sobriety to an Amanita trip and having the experience with breath work and meditation, when I guided the guided meditation, I had done that several times before. But when I did it with the Amanita, I was almost just guided to do certain techniques and say certain things in a particular order, and everything landed exactly in the right order. The timing, the tonality, the suggestions that were given, everybody followed it to like the letter, which is kind of very like there's been a lot of one-on-one sessions I've done with this, not so much a group setting, but it's kind of rare you know, even one-on-ones that I'd have 6 other people do it exactly right, and everybody did the technique exactly correct, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of interesting. But having, like I said, been on this path, seeing synchronicities in my life on many levels, I was like, it's interesting but not too far out. And then when the end result came, everybody came out of the meditation, and then everybody was just like, boom, the shift took place, right? Everybody was like, whoa, we feel it now. Everybody had that story from that point forward, and I really felt it during the process because I knew like what it was like to do what I was doing, because I literally do that as a job, and then doing it in that state with the Amanita, it was like it were, right? So maybe it was the Amanita, maybe it was just the altered state that created, but it was it was a beautiful experience. I feel like the connection and the bonding, you know, just formed from people, you know, just coming on the same path, the same mission to connect into nature, to connect and try something new, but also just coming in with the intention set, like, hey, we're here to renew, we're here to refresh, we're here to make this, you know, and setting this intention of, hey, we're using this trip to jumpstart this. We're using this trip to take off and do that. We're using this trip, even just keeping it private. Like I have this goal that I want this done in my family. I want this goal that I want this done in my life. And I literally just set these little intentions here and there. Like this trip is going to do that for me. And like, literally I'm already not even like 48, 72 hours back. And that's been my result. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. It's a beautiful just to connect with it, and like I said, I don't know if it would have been the same with or without, but Amanita was there. We connected with it. We connected with each other. Beautiful experience going down forever. Never forget. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah,
never
I like
forget.
that.
Beautiful. I would say this too. This was something interesting to touch on, that a lot of people who go into these experiences and want to connect with the spirit of the plant. We've heard about this with people who are maybe smoking marijuana, people who are doing salvia, people who are doing psilocybin. They have these visuals and they have this time of meditation, and they connect with a spirit, like through meditation or inwardly. When they close their eyes, a woman will appear to them. And I thought it was interesting that Brandon would close his eyes and there was this woman with an Amanita shaped head that came to him, that he was seeing some type of closed-eyed visuals with it as well. So that's interesting to note. Also, maybe this is something just to throw out there. Santiago, Jonathan, you talked about maybe having some type of mild heightened psychic abilities as far as knowing what people would say or what people were going to say before they said it, right?
Yeah, I saw two crazy things. So the first thing before that happened towards right before I went to sleep. That's the last thing I remember. But one of the first things I remember is when I was in the couch and I had my eyes completely shut and closed. And I remember I can see vividly the whole room. Like I could literally get up and walk around the room and not bump into anything. And I remember looking at the chair. I remember it being white, like it had the white backing with the gray metal balls and everything. And I remember looking at the chair and seeing vividly with my eyes closed, looking at it, and I could see the chair it wasn't solid, but it was there. There was no texture to it. There was no like if you touch it, it wouldn't be solid. But I remember almost seeing, like, I don't want to, it sounds crazy, but almost like the energy going, like energy through the chair, but in the colors of the chair. But it was normal to me. It felt normal at the time, but I don't remember seeing any texture to it. But the crazy part about it was that I could see it with my eyes closed. That was one crazy thing. And then towards the end, right before I fell asleep, I remember, I think, it was his voice that I heard, the last one. And I remember him about to say something, and I had my eyes closed, and I'm just listening. And I'm telling myself, oh, he's about to say this right now. And he said it. Exactly what I told myself he was going to say. He said it. And I remember looking at him as he was telling me, but I had my eyes closed the whole time. So that was part of the craziest experience out of the whole night, was just seeing that, like, I'm consciously, I know, my eyes were closed and everything, but I could vividly hear what he was about to say. And then he said it exactly. And then after that, I fell asleep. I was gone.
Had a profound psychic ability, and then just went ahead and slept it off. There you go, man. That's good. Yeah. That's really interesting. And and there's always the psychic aspect, or the connection to spirit, which is psychic, the connection to spirit. What I found, and this was new for me anyway, was the dowsing rods that were brought. Just playing around with those and just looking around for the sewer lines outside to try and see if they were working. But then he had, it was Matthew, I think, had mentioned that there's a way to find spirits. And as soon as he said that, the rods crossed right in front of each other, because I thought in my mind, I was like, well, what if there's a spirit here? And what if they just wanted to come through? And I kind of thought that, like with the time distortion and everything, these things started going back and forth. And then I started to stop myself, and I was like, wait, maybe this isn't the most wise choice. So let me just take what I can learn from the situation. And then I just kind of like stopped myself right there, and it's like, well, now I'm going to set an intention with these. And then when I did, it was like total opposite. Instead of them crossing like they do when ghost finders find a spirit, they started going like total opposite. So that was really profound to me because, well, one, I never played with them, and two, it was just interesting having seen them on the Ghost Hunter shows. This is the only place I'd ever seen a dowsing rod where they would cross and bang into each other and stuff when they would play the tape recorders. Like, grab the tape recorder, they're clanging into each other. But and so and then it was interesting because, like, as soon as he's like, yeah, you can find spirits with them, and then it triggered that memory of it. I actually I'd forgotten that, and I went back after the retreat and was like, where did I see dowsing rods before? And realized it was the Travel Channel, and yeah, as I was playing with those, that was interesting. It was really kind of a cool experience, you know. And then, like I said, with that fire too, man, it seemed like I was at that fire for just, you know, a few minutes, but I'd thrown, like, what did we buy? 2 bags of wood. There's like 3 bags of wood. I'd thrown all that wood on there and burned it all up. So I was out there for a minute, a good long while. So
it was even crazy. You remember, Andrew, we were out there by the fire, and the neighbors next to us, you know, their fire had gone out.
Yeah,
it had been out for a minute.
Completely
and then,
doused.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we're sitting out there, and I just looked to my right side, and the fire was just going like it was always there. And I know you guys saw too, because I tried to get up to go put it out, and you guys told me, no, don't worry about it. It'll go out on its own.
Yeah.
As soon as I sat back down, within a few minutes, I looked to my right, and it was gone like it was never there.
Yeah.
It was crazy,
and then you even questioned it too. You're like, are you sure I saw it? Are you sure I saw it? I was like, yeah, there was a fire, but it's out now. I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy. That was crazy too, man. Yeah.
Well, appreciate you guys hanging out with me, just kind of getting your thoughts out there. The further you get away from it, some of the stuff kind of slips away. You forget about it. It's not as, you know, it's on the front of your cerebral cortex. But anybody else have anything else they want to say? That a closing word, if you would recommend it,
I mean, I'll just start with a huge thank you out to you, Derek. I mean, definitely appreciate it, bro. It was a beautiful experience. Like I said, I'm still reaping the rewards. So if you even have any kind of thought of hanging out with this guy, the Truth Seeker in person, dude, it's an amazing experience to take you in from the screen, right? And hear the podcasts, pick up your energy. But man, to be in your energy is a whole nother level. So yeah, definitely thank you, bro, and highly recommend it. Anytime, man.
That's what's up. Thank you for the necklace too. You brought me the gift with the with the Sri Yantra on the back, and it also has the Moldavite and all the other stuff in it. Thank you for the gift, brother. And it was such the biggest blessing of anything was to put my arms around you and embrace you with the big hug when I finally got a chance to meet you for the first time. You've been supporting my work and been a part of our online community for years. Most of you guys have, but being able to meet you guys in person is like next level, and I love it. And I look forward to doing it with the rest of everybody else. But Brandon, what you got, man? Closing words.
Oh yeah, this is one of the best experiences that I can remember, you know, in my life, period. Meeting all you guys and seeing you again, Truth, that was dope as hell. Like on one of the things on Amanita, I was able to be aware of everything around me. I never, you know, lost that. I was always, even though I was still floating, but I was still aware. Okay, hey, I got something on my shirt. I need to clean it off. You know, I noticed, okay, I got some stuff on my clock, and I need to go in the bathroom and wipe this off. You know, I had that awareness about me. And I would recommend microdosing, because when we went on the trail, I had got like an energy boost. I was like, oh man, this looks good. And then I remember we were walking on the docks. I was like, man, I could play God of War like all day right now. I'm like, usually I 22 hours, I'm done. I'm like, I get bored of it, but I'm like, man, I could just stay focused and just play this all day right now. And, you know, that's just how I felt it in that moment. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, bro. It was beautiful. And
it's perfect.
Like meeting all the guys, Santiago, Andrew, you know, Nehemiah, Matthew, Chris. It was amazing, bro.
Yeah, that was one thing that you said that just kind of let you see how small of a world that you kind of live in. You know, even being in New Orleans, is that like, you know, all of these people are just like, you know, an arm's reach away, really, and to have everybody like we have online community and it's beautiful, but it's different when you're able to kind of get together in the same space, right?
Right. Yeah, my job was like 2 minutes up the road. I go to the store, which is 5 minutes up the road. I'm like, I didn't realize I don't do anything, you know. So I'm like, wow. Yeah. It just felt good to get away, you know.
Huge. I've talked with some brothers today who were just like depression, sitting in and things like that. And it's like, look, find something to do to shift the monotony. Go out of town. I told you guys on the trip, like we got some bicycles, and just riding around neighborhoods that we drive through was just so much of a change of scenery, or just going out of town for the weekend, or getting a cabin. The cabin was right down the road from me, but it just, changing up the monotony is huge from time to time, man, to really get that push that reset button with that too. Shifting it up, man. Going on a walk through nature, all of that.
I guess for me, even if the mushrooms had never kicked in, just like what Brandon said, just the whole experience, man, just kicking it with you guys and just being out there, like, you're sending a whole different scenery and meeting people that I've seen, Andrew on the podcast before, and seen Chris and them people. And it was cool too, see them in person and just connect. I know the first day, everybody's trying to just measure everybody and everything, but that when I think after, because man, but I guess after the mushroom and all the meditation and the alms and everything, and just the bonding, dude, the next day I felt sad after saying bye to everybody, because I felt like the next day, like, was just like, if we just had a few more days, man, like the bonding would have been even that much stronger. So I guess I felt even closer to you guys the next day, just eating breakfast. So for me, man, if the mushroom had never kicked in, or even if we never had that, just the experience of being with a group of guys, man, and doing some spiritual work, for me, I actually had some inner healing, which really I know helped me out. So just for that, man, that's the biggest blessing out of the whole weekend for me, man. Just meeting you guys and just having that bonding time, man.
100, for sure.
I'd like to go real quick just because I got to get ready to get off. But I'm just grateful for the experience to be able to be, vulnerable and authentic, because, in this world, you can be vulnerable as you want, but there's still people out there that try to get you and kind of mess that all up. But just being around all you guys, even though, I only know Derek very well, but I know Andrew and Jonathan through Discord and all that, but just to be able to meet you guys and to bond, that was more special for me, because like I said, I needed that, because I moved from Orlando to this, and I mean, I got Derek and I got some other people, but it's like still not like the same thing for me. So being able to just be with you guys and do all that and just be vulnerable and be myself no matter what, with no judgment, that goes a long way for me. Like, it really does. And like that bonds and stuff, Jonathan, like, yeah, like what you said, bro, like if we did have another couple days, it would have made them stronger. But like, I'm holding on to what we have, what we did, what we have. And I'm never going to forget that, because it shifted something in me that needed to be shifted. So I'm forever grateful to be able to experience it with all you guys. And I really look forward to doing it again. And for anyone that wants to try that, I say, try it if it calls you. Don't do it just because we're telling you anything, but try it if it's calling to your spirit, because it just would be a better experience for you. And you'll know when it's calling you, when you don't have to try to get it, where it just comes to you. At least that's what it did for me every time. And I'm forever grateful. No, for real. I'm so grateful for that, because it just makes the experience better. Even though I didn't get all that, I got my own experience afterwards, and it was good for me. It was good for me. So I'm just grateful for all you guys, and for the new friendships now, the new brotherhood. Like, it just means a lot to me. Family goes a long way for me. So I'm
Same here,
super
man.
grateful for it.
Yeah, it's of trying to rush a revelation or like rush an experience can be dangerous. But what I found through just like with prayer, meditation, and seeking God and things like that, through mystical means and through prayer and supplication, all that, a lot of times you start that conversation there in prayer, and then God kind of answers those prayers throughout the waking life. Like, you don't pray, close your eyes, and want to get the answer then. You start it there. It starts there, but then it's kind of revealed over the next few days, weeks, months, years, lifetime. It's the song and dance with it. And so I think we started something there with the Amanita as well, just saying hello. Hey, my name's Derek. How are you? I've heard a lot about you. What's up? kind of thing with that, and with the spirit, and with God as well, and then with each other, which was, you know what I'm saying, so beautiful. And we definitely have to do it again. This is just the first time. Many of us have been connecting for years, and we're going to keep doing it. And I'm looking for just everybody who is looking for a place to belong, and really wanted to just kind of do this thing to, you know, for us to get it out again before we forget about it. You know, you may revisit this a year from now and feel totally different, you know. But to get it out while it's fresh, and really to get past the fear and hysteria with all of this stuff, and just be open and honest. Is some of it scary? Is it good? Do you recommend it? It's up to you, but there's mixed emotions with it. You know, it's not psilocybin by any means. I don't know how spiritual it is, but it was a beautiful experience for us, you know.
Great.
And I'm honestly just glad just to talk about it live, you know. Like I wouldn't ever talk about this a few years back. So I'm happy that I'm open. I'm even for my own self, happy to be open enough to even go live, and I don't care who's listening, you know, just to get my experience out, because it's not, for me personally, it wasn't scary at all. So just like what he just said, what Chris said, if he's been calling me for a while, man. And I knew that, you know, this was the right time when you had posted the men's retreat. I knew that this was the time for me, man, because it had been calling me for a while. So just like he said, don't do it just because. If it is calling you for a reason, and it definitely called me for a specific reason, so I do recommend it that way, and that's it, man.
But but at the same time, when most of us have said there's no like overwhelming urge to be addicted, to do it again.
No way. I didn't feel at any point like I was gonna overdose or die. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like the next day like I had to do more. Nothing. It was so relaxing. Like I said, the next day I felt so refreshed, man. Whatever it was that it did to me, maybe it was just the sleep or something. I just felt completely refreshed, man. So to me, it was something very, very positive, something very good.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, and having done the research on the internet on Amanita, just from my perspective and the way I dive into research, there's nothing I've ever seen like this, where we see a group of people that went together and all share similar experiences. And for me, as an observer during that meditation that I guided, seeing everybody have the same experience of, whoa, it kicked in, and then having the full on everything we've shared with the similarities, synchronicities of time distortion, all the way down to the shakes. And I'll mention this, Nehemiah got off the call already, but he didn't remember having the shakes. But I went upstairs to see if he was up there, and man, he was shaking and convulsing a little bit. And I was like, whoa. But for a second, I watched it and I was like, but he's good. And I just went right back downstairs. And so I don't consciously remember shaking, but he didn't either. So that doesn't mean to say that that's not just a part of it. But yeah, and if literally you didn't know what was going on, and like you didn't research this, you just ate some red and white mushroom, and you're just like, oh, I'm shaking and I'm not able to tell what time it is, then yeah, totally. That's why you got the fear and the distortion out
psychosis
there.
And things,
psychosis, yeah. But if you're intending like, okay, this kind of things might happen, but we're watching out for each other and we're using it as a tool to connect to one another on a deeper level, to share and convene. Like you even put in with the communion, we shared the glass, passed it around, and took the sacrament. Taking it like that made it such a deeper connection. And you know, that I think was just beautiful. So, and I think that putting it out there like this makes it even more beautiful, because like I said, there's no content out there like this. There's nobody else doing this. So
we all did a lot of research.
Being on the frontier. Yeah, we did the research and we lived it. Yeah. And now we get to share that story. And, you know, hopefully it inspires some other people to just convene, get together, retreat, you know, just being in a new scenario. It's like you said, riding the bike on a new street, just even taking a walk down your street when it warms up this spring will change your whole perspective. So when you actually take it to that next level, you get with strangers, you get with people you've never met before, and stay the night with them. That's when it gets deep, right? That's when you have the profound experiences. So
maybe you want to mention that really quick, Chris, because I had a bunch of people in mind who I thought were going to come, but when it came down to going into the woods, staying overnight with strangers and doing mushrooms, they were out. They didn't want to be around strangers at all, and it totally shut them off. Chris was it was kind of a big deal for you at first, but you kind of worked through it really, really quick. But it was a thing, right?
Yeah, it totally was a thing because I don't know anyone, and I just know from my experience from doing psilocybin what it was like. I just was kind of like, okay, this could be good serious. I mean, I've done the little bit of research that I did on it. I've seen that it's not like that, but I still had my about it. But once, you know, the way we did it, bro, was perfect. And all that went away immediately as it went throughout the night. So.
Yeah, and just really as soon as we met each other, really, right? Everybody.
Yeah, pretty much, because the vibes, everything was good.
I think everybody just had the right intention and went over there, man. I think that's what helped out.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm gonna give a shout out to while we're here. I want to give a shout out to I know I gave a shout out to Amanita Lloyd and his group on Facebook, but Amanita Dreamer, who's been doing a lot of research and a lot of videos on YouTube. I'm trying to get her on the podcast. Maybe she'll listen to this. Maybe she'll come on the podcast. But shout out to Amanita Dreamer for everything that she's doing, because she's putting a lot of research and putting herself through experiments and those kind of things as well, and trying to do her job to kill some of the hysteria when it comes to this as well. So Amanita Dreamer on YouTube. Shout out to you. Anything else, anyone?
No, I actually got to go, though, because I'm pulling into my spot.
All right, brother. Love you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Love you guys. Take care,
man. Be safe.
All right, man. Yes, sir.
Bye. Right. So Phil in the chat, he says, when I tried Amanita Pantherina, I felt like my body was super heavy and I felt lightheaded. Pantherina is different. They say it's a whole totally different experience as well. There was some scary stuff that we heard from on the Joe Rogan podcast with what's his name? What was the guy on Joe Rogan? I know Nehemiah was talking about him a good bit, but he was a recent guest and talking about some scary experiences that he had. And I'm pretty sure those guys ate a lot, though. Like ate. I mean, we're talking about people who eat like 20, 30 grams, like crazy, out of this world kind of stuff. But you know what? If you want to say hello, it's there for you to say hello. Wanted to really, again, just talk about it, be open, get rid of the fear, hysteria. I wanted to wait until I had my brothers on here to do it with me, to kind of get their experiences. If anybody wants to do something like this with us, we have some more retreats coming up. Go to truthseeker.com. truthseekah.com if that looks like something that you would like to do. Would love to have you out, and man, I enjoyed it, guys, and I'm gonna remember it forever.
Same here, man.
I'm honored to have had y'all come with me on this retreat. I was going in by myself and invited you guys to go with me, and you did, so thanks so much for that, y'all.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Derek. Yeah, man, much love, guys.
Love you, bro. Love all you, man.
All right, brothers.
Love.
Shalom, shalom. Peace, peace. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right, guys.
All right.